You made the sad choice of logging on to Anniversary today. You'll come to find out that every single one of your macros has left your bar. Not only that, your add-ons are completely messed up. Weakauras don't work properly. Everything just seems like they launched a patch it shouldn't have been launched. And that's just the beginning. And almost a full day later, not a single peep from Blizzard themselves. Not even blue posts. Our still last communication with Blizzard was over a month ago, on the 19th. Not one peep from Blizzard, unless it was talking about the war within. Nothing to do with the, quote, 8-hour maintenance that we got for Anniversary yesterday, which, as I was told, was up within normal time. Less than an hour, a little over an hour. Something doesn't add up. And clearly, whatever they've got going on over there needs to be addressed. And the sad thing is, if you think the macros were the worst part, you'd be extremely mistaken. Not only did the macros and add-ons not work properly, people were reporting of dual spec not even working properly, and we're also having problems when respecking. When you would respec, you would no longer have any more talent points to spend. Also, some people were able to use talents they didn't even spend points into. Something clearly went wrong over at Blizzard, and I don't understand why they would just ship a patch in such a bad state. It seems like every other phase in Anniversary there has been some sort of problem, whether it be sod leaking into the battlegrounds, the AQ gates opening and closing and opening and closing and opening and closing, and then the BWL fucking Electric Boogaloo 2, where we had to do BWL 3 lockouts in a row. And again, if you thought that was the last thing that we were going to talk about today, you'd be wrong. People were struggling to get their clients open. While I was streaming earlier today, people were reporting that they couldn't even get the game to load properly. And what I mean by that is the game would just shut itself off and on, off and on, off and on, and off and on, and flicker until their PC would crash. The game was just opening up multiple instances of games without actually fully staying open, and it caused their PCs to crash. Not only that, but Naxx was an absolute shit show today. There were a ton of Warcraft logs that showed bugged behavior from Naxx encounters. A bunch of my friends that were streaming on Twitch had a bunch of people watch what was happening. Tons of wipe and hundreds upon thousands of gold and consumables just thrown out the window. Some examples of problems were Naxxna was wrapping the main tank and tossing it to the wall. And if you've ever had to deal with Naxxna's threat, you know she's about to turn around and eat some cheeks, boys. Hygen was teleporting the main tank and refused to come off his platform, making the encounter absolutely just horrendous. Basically a wipe. Four Horsemen was probably the best kicker out of the whole raid. The original mechanic, when marks go out, there is a small threat drop of about 50%. Today, the threat completely wiped, making it a goddamn horse stable. Horses were running around from one corner to the next corner, running after healers that literally just put a flash or something on the main tank that's tanking the boss. It was like a goddamn clown circus, Naxxramas, today. Again, if you're not convinced about the threat wipe in that clip before, check this out, a live replay from Warcraft logs, and she's gone. She's off to the races, boys. We've got Zeliek starting to run around as well. It's a goddamn circus right here. Look at this, going right to the mage. And the craziest part was this wasn't it either. Saffron ended up having multiple blizzards spawn. Some reported as much as 15 blizzards. I don't think you realize 15 blizzards is basically enough if they're not stacked on top of each other to cover almost the full room. I don't know what they did, but Naxx is absolutely borked. Your add-ons are absolutely borked. If you want a working version of the weakauras, I was lucky, however, to have someone earlier find out while I was streaming and send me a working link. That will be in the description below. It is for the version of 1.15.8, the new patch that we have gotten. If any of your other add-ons don't work, maybe give it another day. Add-on developers do have to do their job and work on the add-ons. It is not their fault, though. Please remember, it is not their fault that Blizzard decided to push a patch like this in such a bad state. Again, I hope that they learn from this lesson, but if history tells us anything, they've not learned a thing. And apparently, Vesuvius would drop threat whenever a taunt landed from one of the priests who had a ad mind controlled to take care of the tanking. I don't know what they've done over there at Blizzard. I don't know who has been working on this, but it's been almost a full solid 24 hours, and not a peep has come out of Blizzard's mouth. I don't know a single job where you get to mess up so badly, phase after phase, and no repercussions are had. This is getting extremely out of hand, and I hope they clean it up before TBC, because if they don't, we're all in for a very rude awakening. I am not the one to be a negative person, but good lord, if you're going to try to monetize the Classic community, at least make sure your game works properly. Please. Now, if you haven't seen the recent news of the WoW Classic token, anniversary character clone transfers, and as well as the 58 boost, I have a video that I did a couple days ago where I found the files in the TBC store. If it's something that you're interested, you should go check it out. It'll be either in the description below or it should be on screen now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do, because we are keeping track of everything that's going on up to the pre-patch of TBC, which we believe to be extremely soon, considering they're already trying to test and flick around with this patch build. We'll be going over and updating a lot of the old TBC content that needs a refresher, a lot of misinformation that was put out years ago that we want to clean up and make sure it's ready for people that are first-time players or maybe don't remember as much. Hopefully Blizzard can clean up their act, and we don't have to make these videos, and we can actually get to the good content of going over what awesome changes and how great an expansion TBC was. Because if they don't clean up their act, we're in for a very rude awakening for the Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary servers. Again, I hope they clean up. Hopefully, I don't have to make a video updating more problems in the next day or two. I'd like to just make a community post where they actually go over some of the errors and they hotfix them. But as of right now, almost a full 24 hours later since the patch was worked on, there is nothing. We have radio silence from Blizzard again. Anyways, thank you for watching, and take care.